Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm 208SkinDoc, Dr. Dustin Portela, board certified dermatologist. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I am a big fan of sunscreen and I am not a fan of getting a tan. When you go out and intentionally tan your skin, whether it is in a tanning booth, whether it's under the sun, you're doing damage to your skin that can be permanent. It increases your risk for skin cancer. It makes you look old before your time. There's really nothing good about it, but our society does place value on being tan, and that's hard to get away from. So what do you do if you want to tan, but you are going to take care of your skin and not go get in the sun or in a tanning bed? Well, it's going to be a spray tan. That's your best option. I went and got a spray tan, and I'm going to talk to you about my experience and tell you why that's a much better option than getting a tan with UV. Let's get to it. Despite the best effort of dermatologists, it is still often perceived in society that a tan is beautiful, and many people are out there trying to get a tan, especially younger groups. And that's one of the worst things that you can do for your skin. Before I became a dermatologist, before I went to medical school, I used to have the same perception, and I was a cross-country runner, I was a track runner. I spent a lot of times outdoors running many, many miles, oftentimes with my shirt off, certainly wearing, small clothes like cross-country runners do. And all of that gave me a lot of sun exposure that really wasn't good for my skin, and I still have a ton of freckles on my arms as a result. If you've done damage to your skin, there's, sometimes not a lot you can do to reverse it, but you can change your habits now so that you stop damaging your skin. If you like the appearance of having a tan, but you don't want to damage your skin, you need to do a spray tan. That's what I did. This happened last year during COVID. I had started up my podcast, and if you haven't checked out my podcast, it is available on most every podcast distributor, platform, whatever it is. It's called Between Two Derms, and I have solo episodes, but I often sit down with other people who are either dermatologists or work somewhere in the skincare industry to discuss topics of interest to you. One of my podcast guests was Mary Tillman, and she operates a company here in Boise, Idaho called Touch of Sun, and she does spray tans. She used to work in a tanning salon with UV light, and as she did that, she saw clients come and go, getting tans, some of them using the beds every single day. And then she talks about an experience where somebody, I don't know if it was because of health challenges or what, did not come in for several months, and then when they finally came back, most of their tan had faded, and she was impressed with how much better their skin looked because they had been taking care of their skin and not damaging it every day in the tanning bed. And that was part of the driver to get her out of the tanning industry, but because of that, she wanted to help other people by providing a much safer alternative, and she opened her own spray tan studio. You can hear more about her story on my podcast, but what that led to was the opportunity for me to go in and get a spray tan myself. I got to experience what it was like to get a spray tan, the process, what it looks like afterwards, how to take care of your skin after a spray tan, how long it lasts. We answered a ton of those questions from that video, and if you followed me on TikTok for a long time, you may have seen that, but I wanted to kind of give a bigger overview here. So let's talk about the process of preparing for my spray tan with Mary. What she asked me to do first was to make sure that I showered, cleaned off, exfoliated before I came in to get my spray tan. That process of exfoliation, using a scrubbing mitt or a loofah, whatever it is, helps to get rid of dead skin cells so that you can get the spray tan to stick to your skin a little bit better, to soak in. One of my favorite tools for exfoliating the body are the line of projects from Clean Logic. I've talked about those before in my video on body skincare, and if you haven't checked that out, you certainly can by clicking the card here. So if you're preparing for a spray tan, it is important to lightly exfoliate the skin, get rid of some of those dead skin cells, and make sure you come in clean. You don't want to have lotion on your skin. You want to just have bare skin, essentially, because you don't want anything coming between the spray tan and your skin so that it can properly adhere, soak in, and be in that stratum corneum, or that top layer of dead skin, those dead skin cells. Upon arriving at Mary's studio, we sat down and we talked about the process of the spray tan, what I could expect, and we talked about the ingredients that she was going to use to make sure that I didn't have any allergies to any of those. I don't have any topical allergies that I'm aware of, and so that wasn't an issue for me. But if you are getting a spray tan, you should be asking your artist what kind of materials they're going to be using to make sure you don't have an allergy to one of those ingredients. After giving me the instructions, Mary stepped out of the room, allowed me to change my clothes and get ready for the spray tan. She had also given me nose plugs or nose filters because she is spraying a mist, and it is important not to inhale that. Even though those chemicals are generally regarded as safe to put on the skin, it's not something necessarily you want to be breathing into the nose or mouth. If you can't close your mouth and just breathe through your nose and the nose filters, there is a mouth guard that you can be given to also filter breathing through your mouth. After I had changed, put in the nose plugs, I was able to step into the booth, which just collects the scatter so it's not hitting the wall or anything like that. And you can see that in the video as we look at it. But then Marie freehanded this, and we chose a fairly light shade. I didn't want to go really dark on my shade. I just wanted a little bit of a touch-up just to give me a little bit of the appearance of a tan. So we had selected a light shade, and she did this technique freehand. She's been doing spray tans for a long time, and she's gotten very good at having an even application by using a freehand technique. And that was the result that I got in the end, is that she did a great job with the freehand application. What you want to avoid when you're doing a spray tan is maybe automated machines that don't do it very evenly, like that scene from Friends.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. I'm not finished counting! Oh, and it gets worse.
During my spray tan, we didn't choose to treat the face at all, but we did an even application over the front and the back, and then allowed that to dry for a little bit, and then just look around and touch up anything that maybe wasn't perfectly even. The spray tan sets on the skin fairly quickly and dries, but you do have to be careful in those first few hours because it can rub off onto other things. So it's recommended to wear loose-fitting clothing so that when you change back into your clothes, you're not pulling tight clothing over your skin that has just been spray tanned. After a spray tan, you should listen to the instructions of the artist to not shower for whatever period of time they recommend. For me, it was important not to shower the first day. I was able to rinse the next day, but what you want to avoid is really hot, long showers and avoid exfoliation. We did exfoliate before the spray tan, but if you start trying to exfoliate after the spray tan, it is going to come off more quickly because that material is in that top layer of dead skin cells. And if you start removing it, of course the tan is going to come off with it. Another important step for caring for your skin after a spray tan is moisturization. It's important to use a good moisturizer. I chose to use a little bit thicker creams, and most artists will recommend specific products that work well and complement the material that they use during your spray tan. And I think that's generally a good idea, to use their recommendations, the products that they're selling, because they are going to complement the spray tan that you got. Some of them may have a mitt, and you can actually do touch-ups at home and put on like a tanning mousse or lotion that kind of keep and help preserve that tan. For me, I just used a lotion to help prevent my skin from getting dry, where it might flake off and make that tan go away more quickly. Overall, I love the results that I got from my spray tan. Spray tanning can last anywhere between 5 to 10 days, sometimes up to 14, if you're really careful about your skin and you're not doing things like exercise where you're sweating and going to rinse it off a little bit more quickly. But you have to go back and touch it up fairly often. So that's not a big deal if you're in the habit of going to tanning beds, because the process is still pretty quick, and you're going to go in at least every 2 weeks to get that touched up, if you like having the appearance of a tan. Most people who are using UV tanning beds are going at least once a week anyway and spending anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes in those tanning beds, so the time commitment shouldn't be an issue if you're already in the habit of doing that. However, if you're not in the habit, it is a time commitment to keep up on a spray tan, and my overall recommendation is just to love the skin that you're in. If you have very fair skin, that's okay, that's totally fine. You don't need to go get a tan, whether it's spray tan, and certainly not tanning under ultraviolet light. For more tips on chemicals to avoid, things that you should look for both in the spray tan and the artist, make sure you listen to that podcast episode, Between Two Derms. There's a lot more information there, and you'll be able to understand if spray tanning is right for you. If you guys have questions about getting a spray tan or tanning in general, whether it's from spray tans, whether it's from ultraviolet light, go ahead and ask those down in the comment section below. And I'm going to include a link to Mary Tillman's website there. She does sell some products. You're more than welcome to buy those from her, or you can look up and find a spray tan artist in your area. But Overall, it is dermatologist recommended to do spray tanning over ultraviolet tanning, but you don't need a tan at all. Love the skin that you're in. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, commenting, liking, and sharing. I look forward to seeing you back next time.